Apa itu bangsa?
What is a nation?
Untuk secara formal, bangsa sebagai konsep politik yang dimulai pada tahun
The attempt to formally define the
1882,
nation as a political
ketika
concept
filsuf dan
dates
sejarawan
back to
Prancis,
1882 when
Renan,
French
di
philosopher
sini Renan
and historian
mengkonstruksikan
Ernest Renard
bangsa-bangsa
published his
sebagai
seminal essay titled What is a Nation?
solidaritas
In this
kawasan
essay,
yang
Renard
dibentuk
defines
oleh
the nation as a
perasaan
large-scale
pengorbanan
solidarity
yang dilakukan
constituted
seorang
by
di
the
masa
feeling
lalu,
of sacrifices
dan pengorbanan
that
yang
one
dilakukan
made in the
seorang di
past
masa
and
lalu.
of those that one is separated to make in the future.
Masa depan menjelaskan
This explains
mengapa
why
Renan
Renard
percaya
believes that if
bahwa
we are to
jika
imagine the
kita ingin
nation as good
membayangkan
and worthy of
bangsa
continuous
sebagai bangsa
sacrifice,
yang baik
we must
dan
realize
layak,
that it
untuk
necessarily
mengorbankan
entails a
terus-menerus,
process of forgetting.
kita harus menyadari tentu
This is
memerlukan
because,
proses-proses
for
untuk
Renard,
melupakan.
the efforts to
Hal
obtain
ini
national
karena,
unity,
upaya
either in the
untuk
name of
memperoleh
civic
suatu
or ethnic
bangsa,
nationalism,
baik
involve
yang
acts of violence
memutuskan
and subsequent forgetting.
kewarganegaraan maupun etnik, melibatkan
Based on the
tindakan
initial conception of a
kekerasan dan
nation
kelupaan.
developed by Renard, scholars have come up with a more formal definition of a nation,
Komunitas orang
namely,
yang
a community of
dibentuk
people
atas
formed on the
dasar
basis of a
kombinasi
combination
itu
of shared
bersama
features
seperti
such as
sejarah
language,
bangsa,
history,
etnis, budaya,
ethnicity,
dan teori.
culture, and territory. Put differently,
Bangsa
a nation is the collective
adalah
identity of a group of people
kolektif
understood
sekelompok
as
orang
defined
yang
by
dipahami
language,
seperti
history,
yang
ethnicity,
didefinisikan
culture,
oleh
and
bahasa,
territory.
sejarah, etnis,
And for
budaya,
this
dan
reason, a nation is generally more overtly political than an
Teori
ethnic group.
sumumnya lebih terbuka
In
secara
fact,
politis
many scholars considered it
daripada
as
kelompok
a fully
etnis.
mobilized or institutionalized
Pada
ethnic group.
kenyataannya, banyak sejarah menganggapnya
Later on,
sebagai
the
kelompok
famous
etnis
political
yang
scientist
dilembagakan
Benedict Anderson
sepenuhnya
views the
dimobilisasi.
nation as an imagined
Ilmuwan
community.
politik terkenal
For Anderson, the nation is an imagined
Anderson,
political community that is
pandangan
culturally
tentang-
imagined as
pandangannya
both
tentang
inherently
bangsa
limited and
sebagai
sovereign.
komunitas yang dibayangkan adalah komunitas
As we
politik
can
yang
see,
dibayangkan-
there are four key
dibayangkan
elements in this
dan secara
definition.
budaya
First,
secara
the
budaya
nation is imagined
dibayangkan
simply because
sebagai
members of any
terbatas
particular
dan
nation will never meet most of their fellow
berdaulat
members,
secara
yet in the
interkait.
minds of each lives the image of their communion.
Ada 4 elemen kunci dalam
Second, the nation is
definisi
imagined
ini.
as limited because it has finite,
Yang
yet
pertama,
sometimes elastic,
bangsa
boundaries
itu
beyond which other
dibayangkan
nations
hanya
lie.
karena anggota dari satu bangsa
Third,
tertentu
the nation is
tidak akan
imagined as
pernah
sovereign
bertemu
because the concept of the
sebagian
nation
besar
itself was born in an
dari bangsa
age
anggota
when the
mereka,
Enlightenment
namun
and
dalam
Revolution
pemikiran
were
masing-masing
destroying the
hidup
legitimacy
secara,
of the divinely ordained,
persekutuan mereka.
hierarchical dynastic realm.
Yang kedua, bangsa dibayangkan
Finally,
sebagai
the nation is imagined as a community
memiliki
because,
batasan-batasan,
regardless
namun
of the actual
kadang-kadang,
inequality and exploitation that may prevail within
elastis
each,
di mana
the
setiap
nation is
negara
conceived
terletak.
as a deep, horizontal
Yang ketiga,
comradeship.
bangsa dibayangkan sebagai berdaulat karena
Syntax is a law of
Sintaksis
language
adalah
that
hukum
determines
bahasa
the
yang
word order
menentukan
and basic
urutan kata
sentence structure
dan
within
struktur
the
kalimat dasar
different
dalam
languages.
bahasa yang berbeda.
Each language
Setiap
has a
bahasa
specific
memiliki
syntax
sintaksis
that
khusus
tells
yang
the speaker and the
memberitahu
listener
pembicara
which parts
dan
of the
pendengar
sentence come
bagaimana,
first to help them make
dari
sense of what's
kalimat
being
yang
said.
lebih dahulu untuk
It's the
membantu
guidelines we
mereka
use when
memahami apa yang
speaking and
dikatakan
writing
oleh,
so that sentences are
dikatakan. Itu
understandable
pedoman
and
yang kami
coherent. Be
Waspadalah
wary
terhadap
of confusing
sintaksis atau
syntax or
semantik.
semantics with
Karena ini
diction.
membingungkan
These
dan,
form the
dengan
backbone of
diksi.
sentence
Ini
construction,
membentuk tulang
so
punggung
let's break these
konstruksi
definitions
kalimat.
down.
Jadi mari
Syntax,
kita pecahkan
as just
definisi ini.
mentioned, is the
Sintaksis
order of the
seperti
words
yang
in a sentence.
baru saja
Diction is the
disebutkan adalah
specific
urutan
word
kata-kata
choice
dalam
meant to
kalimat.
express certain
Diksi
meanings.
adalah
Semantics is the
untuk
meaning
konstruksi
conveyed by
kalimat.
the particular words
Jadi
used.
mari kita pecahkan
We'll be
definisi
focusing
ini.
on
Sintaksis
syntax in this
seperti
video.
yang
In the
baru
English
saja
language, there's a word order
disebutkan
that is
adalah urutan
set in
kata-kata
stone
dalam
for
kalimat.
most types of
Diksi
sentences.
adalah
Of course, there are
ini
always
adalah
exceptions,
pilihan
but
kata
most of the
tertentu yang
time,
dimaksudkan
standard English
untuk
sentences will
menggunakan
follow an
arti tertentu
SVO word
dari
order.
makna semantik
Subject,
yang
verb,
disampaikan
object.
sebagian besar
As in, the boy
oleh
looks
kata-kata
outside
tertentu
of the window.
yang
In this
digunakan
example
dalam bahasa
sentence, we
Inggris
have the subject,
mengikuti
boy,
kata
the verb, looks,
SVO.
and the object, outside. This
untuk
image is
mengurutkan
an image of an
subject,
English
verb,
grammar
object,
syntax tree
objective.
used by
Nah,
linguists to
seperti
plot
pada
the structure
anak
of sentences.
laki-laki,
You may not
seperti
often encounter a
pada
syntax
laki.
tree, but
Mengikuti
knowing how
kata
to draw
SVO
one is rather
diurutkan
useful and
pada
will help you
subject,
understand
verb,
sentence structure.
objective. Nah,
In the chart, you can
seperti
see that the
pada
sentence is
anak
broken
laki-laki
down
itu
into its parts,
melihat,
verbs,
keluar
nouns,
jendela.
articles, and
Dan ini
prepositions.
contoh kalimat.
After
Semantik
this
adalah
step, the words are
gambaran,
grouped together to
sintaksis
determine which parts of the
sintaksis grammar
sentence are noun
bahasa
phrases,
Inggris
prepositional
yang
phrases,
digunakan
or
oleh
verb
linguistik.
phrases. Fun fact,
Untuk melepaskan
SVO is
struktur
not the
kalimat,
only
bahkan
word
saya
order
sering
structure.
menemukan
Other
problem
languages
sintaksis, tetapi
vary word order
mengetahui
and
cara,
even include additional
bagaimana
components
Anda
in their
dapat
syntax.
melihat bahwa
In the example
kalimat
given
akan
with the
menjadi
syntax tree,
bagian-bagian
the
kata
subject is
kerja
cat,
dan
the
kata
verb
benda.
is sat, and the
Artikel,
object is mat. The second picture is another way in
kata
which
depan setelah
syntax can be written out. This
kata
diagram
itu.
takes the sentence, "The dog loved the girl," and
Kata-kata
breaks it down
dikelompokkan
into
bersama
articles,
dengan
nouns,
menentukan bagian
verbs, noun
bagaimana
phrases, and verb
dari
phrases,
kalimat yang
just like
merupakan
the previous example.
frasa atau
In this
kata
sentence,
benda.
the subject
Frasa
is
profesional,
dog, the verb is loved,
bukan
and the object
satu-satunya
is girl.
struktur urutan kata
Again, the
bahasa lain
syntax
sama,
trees are
di
not to
sini
be
sama
intimidating,
urutan
but are
kata,
used to
dan
better
bahkan
understand the
memuaskan untuk
structure of a
menentukan
sentence
subjeknya adalah
and
kata kerja,
to reveal,
duduk,
understand the structure of a
kata kerjanya
sentence
duduk,
and
dan objeknya
to reveal
adalah
each part's
bahwa
purpose within the sentence.
cara
An additional
lain
use for
di mana,
syntax trees is that
sintaksis
whenever a
dapat
different word order is
ditulis
used for a sentence,
diagram
it can be decoded.
yang
For example,
yang
if you are
kalimat,
hearing a sentence in a foreign
Anjing
language
mencintai-
that follows a
mencintai
VSO
gadis
order
dan
or some other
membacakan
variation,
kalimat.
creating a
Sebelumnya
syntax
adalah
tree for that sentence can help you
anjing
to
kata
put the
kerja,
words in SVO order
dicintai
so that you might understand
dicintai
what's being
adalah
said.
objeknya,
Let's have a recap.
gadis yang
1.
menulis
Syntax
masuk ke
is the
sintaksis.
sentence structure.
Sintaksis
2.
tidak
Diction is the
tidak
choosing of
mendefinisikan,
words to
tetapi
relate a
digunakan
certain
untuk lebih
meaning.
memahami
3.
struktur
Semantics
kalimat
is the meaning that is
kalimat.
expressed
Untuk kalimat
from the
yang dapat
words used.
diterjemahkan, misalnya jika
4.
kita
Syntax trees are a
mendengar
neat
kalimat
graphing
dalam
tool
bahasa
to
asing
chart sentence
yang
structure and make
bahwa,
sense of word order and how it's functioning in the world of English. Thanks for joining us for this syntax tutorial. If you found this video to be helpful, check out the rest of our channel for additional help. See you guys next time.
Mengerti apa yang dikatakan, mari kita rekap. Sintaksis adalah struktur kalimat untuk refleksi. Fiksi adalah untuk mengisi struktur kalimat dan selama hampir dekade, ilmuwan kelas dewasa dari virus dari Cina
For almost
yang
a
baru
decade,
yang
scientists chased the source of a deadly
virus yang
new virus
mematikan
through
melalui
China's
gunung
tallest
di
mountain
Cina
and most
pada
isolated
rempah-rempah
caverns.
raya.
They finally found
Covid
it
terbaru
here,
mereka
in the
akhirnya
bats of Shitao Cave.
menemukannya.
The virus in question was a coronavirus that caused an epidemic of severe acute respiratory syndrome, or SARS, in 2003. Coronaviruses are a group of viruses covered in little protein spikes that look like a crown, or corona in Latin. There are hundreds of known coronaviruses. 7 of them infect humans and can cause disease. The coronavirus SARS-CoV causes SARS, MERS-CoV causes MERS, and SARS-CoV-2 causes the disease COVID-19. Of the 7 human coronaviruses, 4 cause colds, mild, highly contagious infections of the nose and throat. 2 infect the lungs and cause much more severe illnesses. The 7th, which causes COVID-19, has features of each. It spreads easily, but can severely impact the lungs. When an infected person coughs, droplets containing the virus spray out. The virus can infect a new person when the droplets enter their nose or mouth. Coronaviruses transmit best in enclosed spaces where people are close together. Cold weather keeps their delicate casing from drying out, enabling the virus to survive for longer between hosts, while UV exposure from sunlight may damage it. These seasonal variations matter more for established viruses, but because no one is yet immune to a new virus, it has so many potential hosts that it doesn't need ideal conditions to spread. In the body, the protein spikes embed in the host cells and fuse with them, enabling the virus to hijack the host cell's machinery to replicate its own genes. Coronaviruses store their genes on RNA. All viruses are either RNA viruses or DNA viruses. RNA viruses tend to be smaller, with fewer genes, meaning they infect many hosts and replicate quickly in those hosts. In general, RNA viruses don't have a proofreading mechanism, whereas DNA viruses do. So, when an RNA virus replicates, it's much more likely to have mistakes called mutations. Many of these mutations are useless or even harmful, but some make the virus better suited for certain environments, like a new host species. Epidemics often occur when a virus jumps from animals to humans. This is true of the RNA viruses that cause the Ebola, Zika and SARS
dengan
epidemics
virus
and the COVID-19 pandemic.
dari hewan ke
Once in
manusia
humans,
yang
the virus still
menyebabkan
mutates, usually not enough to create a new
akademisi
virus,
dan
but enough to
pandemi
create variations or
COVID-19
strains of the original one.
yang ada pada manusia
Coronaviruses have a few key differences from most RNA
membutuhkan
viruses.
jenis
They're
biasanya
some of the
untuk cukup
largest,
untuk
meaning they have
membantu
the
virus
most genes.
baru tetapi
That
cukup
creates
juga
more
membantu
opportunity for
variasi
harmful mutations.
semua
To counteract this
asli
risk,
apa yang
coronaviruses have a
coronavirus memang
unique
memiliki
feature,
beberapa
an enzyme
perbedaan
that
dari
checks for
kebanyakan virus
replication
RNA
errors and
yang
corrects
beberapa
mistakes.
arti
This makes
terbesar mereka
coronaviruses
memiliki
much more
paling
stable,
banyak
with a
yang
slower
menciptakan
mutation
lebih banyak
rate than other
peluang
RNA
untuk
viruses.
mutasi berbahaya.
While this may sound formidable, the slow mutation rate is actually a promising sign when it comes to disarming them. After an infection, our immune systems can recognize germs and destroy them more quickly if they infect us again, so they don't make us sick. The mutations can make a virus less recognizable to our immune systems and therefore more difficult to fight off. They can also make antiviral drugs and vaccines less effective because they're tailored very specifically to a virus. That's why we need a new flu vaccine every year. The influenza virus mutates so quickly that new strains pop up constantly. The slower mutation rate of coronaviruses means our immune systems, drugs and vaccines might be able to recognize them for longer after infection and therefore protect us better. Still, we don't know how long our bodies remain immune to different coronaviruses. There's never been an approved treatment or vaccine for a coronavirus. We haven't focused on treating the ones that cause colds, and though scientists began developing treatments for SARS and MERS, the epidemics ended before those treatments completed clinical trials. As we continue to encroach on other animals' habitats, some scientists say a new coronavirus jumping to humans is inevitable. But if we investigate these unknowns, it doesn't have to be
antivirus dan
devastating.
vaksin kurang efektif secara khusus untuk virus ini.
Students and
Sebenarnya
teachers
kita
all over the world did
membutuhkan
their part to help slow the spread of
agar
COVID-19
tidak
by
flu
staying home. But what
vaksin.
about their graduation
Setiap tahun
ceremonies?
virus
Learn more about Ted's
bermutasi
global
begitu.
campaign to celebrate and elevate the
Virus
hopes and
corona
ideas
bermutasi
of an
begitu
entire
cepat sehingga
generation.
dapat menular
Get
ke
involved at
orang-orang di sekitar kita.
TED.com/graduation.